You didn't come here to simply survive. You came here to thrive, to reconnect, and to remember who you truly are. Welcome to the Return to Her podcast, where we uncover the knowledge that empowers us and discover the wisdom that's always been inside. Here, we blend spiritual insights, modern psychology, and embodied wellness practices to help us realign all aspects of our being, body, mind, and soul. This is where science meets spirituality and true wellness becomes our way of life. I'm Cassie Dalton, yoga teacher, energy worker, holistic coach, and intuitive guide. While I'm still walking my own wellness and spiritual path, my mission now is to walk beside you as you return home to your most authentic and empowered self. Now is the time to return to her. The content shared in this podcast is for informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult a qualified professional for any personal health or wellness concerns. Now let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back in to Return to Her. I just wanted to say happy summer. Some of you that live in Georgia and other states whose kids get out in May, welcome to summer for you guys. Those of you that get out later, don't worry, you'll get there soon. I just wanted to pop on here and give a couple of updates about what's going on in my life and what's going on with the podcast so that we can all be on the same page. So to start with, I just wanted to talk about how as summer is starting, I am having all the feels, recognizing that my little precious babies are growing up. My oldest just graduated from 8th grade. I know they do a graduation for pretty much everything now. I feel like we've had a pre-K graduation, kindergarten, 5th grade, and now it's 8th grade. But I don't care. I'm here for it all. I love all of it. And I am just recognizing in myself that I'm becoming a lot more present. It's nice to witness when I can just kind of pull back and see myself, noticing how I've changed over the last several years, more and more just able to be with what's showing up, to not judge it, to not label it necessarily, just to allow it to come, to allow it to go, and to be present for all of it. I'm really thankful, actually, that my yoga practice, my meditation practice, my energy work, sound healing, the things that I've been doing over the past several years have really paid off in beautiful ways. And that is one of the ways, is just being more present. For example, just recognizing as my son is going through this 8th grade graduation, his final week of middle school, and acknowledging in myself the emotions that I'm feeling, those bittersweet kind of emotions, noticing that my son is growing up and becoming an adult, and soon he'll be driving and he won't need me nearly as much anymore. Soon he'll be off to college. In his mind, he's going to graduate high school early and go to college, a year ahead of time. He's got it in his mind that he's going to do that. And I'll tell you what, that kid is a manifester. So if he says it, chances are it's going to happen. So I'm just preparing myself for that, recognizing that I am more and more shifting out of that stage of my kids needing me. And I'm starting to go more and more the way of the empty nester before too long. It'll be here before I know it. And I'm just becoming aware of that more and more as they're reaching these milestones. My daughter is in 7th grade. She's going to be an 8th grader next year. So she is right behind him. And it's okay. I can feel what I feel about that. And I can be present with it. And it's all going to be beautiful. So that's really nice to witness in myself, just recognizing that. And another thing that I recognized actually a couple of days ago when we were going through the 8th grade graduation celebrations, one day at his middle school, they well, I guess it was the day before their last day of school, they asked the parents to come if they were able to line the hallways, and the eighth graders walked through the school in front of all the classrooms, in front of all the kids that were out in the hallway, in front of all the parents. And parents were invited to bring posters that had their kids, names and pictures and memories, things like that. So we were invited to create posters to really surprised the kids with, actually. And as we were setting up for the final walk through the school, the word final always gets me. Just recognizing, and I don't even think my son really cared all that much. I probably cared a lot more than he did, but that final walk through the middle school as an eighth grader. And then the next day was going to be their awards day and their graduation commitment. I think they called it a commitment ceremony. They didn't even actually call it a graduation. But I was feeling all the feels. And one of the things that I recognize that I have become a lot better at recognizing again is not only presence with what's going on and allowing things to move through me and not holding on to them, not pushing them away, but also recognizing that as an empath, I am open to perceiving the emotions of others. And that has opened up for me a lot. I've always been that way. I feel, I guess I could call myself a highly sensitive person, and I haven't always known what to do with that. I haven't always been able to recognize it, actually. I always thought that it was me. But a lot of times I'm feeling other people's emotions, especially when I'm in a crowded place or there is high intensity emotion going on, whatever that high intensity emotion is. I'm feeling that, I'm picking up on it. And not only do I feel it and pick up on it, but as an empath, I also amplify that. So not only am I feeling other people's stuff, but sometimes I'm feeling it stronger than they do by design, just the way that I'm designed. So I had one of those moments where I could discern really clearly all of a sudden that the emotions that I was feeling weren't actually mine, that I think I was amplifying the emotions of someone near me or the group of parents near me, those that tend to be more on the emotional side. And I just thought that was cool, being able to not only witness that, but to know that when I witness it, when I acknowledge it, I'm able to separate from it a little bit. So that was kind of a really cool realization, just that recognizing the things that are not mine to carry. And when I realized that, I can let them go a whole lot easier than I used to. So nice little growth moments for myself while my kids are also having their growth moments. And just like thinking about my kids, having more and more serious adult conversations with them, it's been really kind of strange. I'm recognizing that I am able now to speak from a place of wisdom and compassion. And perhaps, and I'm not saying this to discredit my own parents, because they're wonderful. They were wonderful parents when I was growing up. They're wonderful now. But as a highly sensitive person and someone who had some very specific emotional needs as an empath, my parents didn't always get it exactly right. And I know I'm not always getting it exactly right either. But when I'm having conversations with my kids, I am realizing sometimes in the moment, and especially after, that I'm speaking to them a way that my parents never were quite able to speak to me. And I am able to be the kind of parent for my kids that I feel like I also needed when I was a kid. So I'm a little bit reparenting myself, and that's interesting. But just noticing that my kids are bringing up topics, and I am learning to step back and give them space actually to communicate what they need to communicate and to work their own to kind of work through their stuff in their own way, just knowing that I'm supporting them rather than me rushing in with advice necessarily or trying to solve it for them. And I realize actually, and I think that this might be true for a lot of people who rush in with advice, that honestly, when we do that, it typically comes with our own agenda. When we're trying to give advice about something, it is advice that aligns with what it is that we want to happen. It's pushing an outcome that we want, whether that outcome is just to alleviate our own discomfort, our own fear, our own pain, because when we see our kids are uncertain or going down a road that we're not necessarily sure is best for them, but they feel very confident, or, like if they're hurting, we want to take that away. And part of it is because, we don't want to see them suffering. We want to take their pain from them. But the bigger part is because we don't want to feel that. We don't want to feel that pain or that fear or that uncertainty. So our advice tends to be more driven by what do we want the outcome to be from this situation. And I'm recognizing that and trying to pull back and not necessarily give my advice, but giving them the space and the love and the support to start to understand what it is that they want, what it is that they need, who it is they want to be, and how they want to show up in the world. And that's not my place to determine or figure out as their parent or as just a person in this world. It's not my job to do that for them, and it was never supposed to be. So I'm recognizing that and working on it. That's one of my things that I'm working on more and more now, is to pull back and not just rush in with a solution, but instead hold the space that they deserve. So I feel like that's some growth. I'm also working on right now creating a vision board. It was when I did my Reiki training, my level 1 training with my Reiki master, creating a vision board was one of the assignments that we had to do. And it was actually a really fun process. And it's so wild to me that I didn't take it as seriously as some other people in my group, and that's fine. I thought it was fun. And it was nice to be creative, basically. But when I think back on it now, I'm thinking back on the pictures, all the images, all the words that I chose for my vision board. And pretty much everything on that vision board came to fruition. Things that I didn't even have in my awareness of things that I wanted to manifest still came into being for me. And that is really interesting. So I had the inspiration a couple of weeks ago to sit down, create a new vision board, and I've cut some pictures out. I've found some words. I haven't really gone very far with it. So I think this is going to be one of those slow burn kind of projects that I'm working on throughout the next few weeks. So I will definitely report back, and I have a whole episode planned for vision boarding, for giving some suggestions for those that want to create their own vision board. So look out for that episode coming before too long. Actually, I do want to talk about that, but I'll get into that in just a minute. Let me think back to what it was I actually had on my mind to talk about. I've also been doing a lot of work physically. My body is feeling a little tired, honestly. I added on 3 new, not quite yoga, but yoga-like classes in one of the communities where I teach. So now I'm teaching 11 classes a week, and I'm feeling it. And it's not so much the physical exertion of it. It's really, when I'm teaching classes, I exert a lot of not physical body energy, but it is an energy expenditure, because I'm holding space for a lot of people who are showing up. I'm holding space for everybody who's showing up, but some of these classes have gotten fairly large. So there's a lot of energy to hold space for. There's a lot of people that have things going on in their lives, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that I'm holding space for and putting out beautiful energy to help uplift. And I'm not complaining at all, but it does take energy from me. I have to decharge and recharge. And I haven't really been focusing as much on that decharge and recharge process as I probably need to as a highly sensitive person and an empath. So that is one of the things that I am looking forward to this summer, is kind of pulling back a little bit more into the self-care practices that I know are really great for me. Ironically, though, I also am getting this really strong inspiration. And when I get these really strong inspirations, it's because I know that my higher self has already been whispering these to me, and I've been putting it on the back burner, so it's coming up stronger and louder, that I need to start focusing more consistently on strength training. And I kind of dabble in it and kind of drop out of it and dabble in it again and drop out of it. But it's something that I know, as someone who is 40 years old and entering into that perimenopause stage, that as my estrogen and my hormones are starting to downshift, it's going to be even more important that I've already established a really strong muscular skeletal system. So I need to start working on getting a little bit more disciplined, more consistent with my strength training practice, coming at the time where I'm already teaching physical and energy expending classes. So I'm trying to figure out how to balance that. More to come on that for sure. That's definitely something that I want to talk more and more about, because this is a really important topic, actually. So having said that, I just wanted to say, dude, it has been an interesting year. And we're at that summer, at least because I do have kids in the school system. Summer is here. Things are having to change in my schedule. And I've decided that in order to honor that, in order to really focus on being present, not only with my kids while they're at the house or while we're doing things this summer, but also really present with myself and my own needs, I'm going to pull back in a slight way as far as the podcast goes. I have, oh my gosh, I created a board, like kind of like a vision board actually, but just an inspiration board of all the topics that I want to discuss. And they're all in various stages perhaps of, maybe some of them it's just an idea, some of them it is an outline, some of them I've already put a lot of research into it and have pretty much drafted entire episode scripts, and I think I probably have about 40. And that's exciting to me, and for the past several weeks actually it's been overwhelming to me, because it's like, oh, I've got so many things that I want to say, where do I even start? And it's time for me to go ahead and record, because I've got to get this thing published and put out for Sunday morning. So I haven't really been doing the podcast the way that I've wanted to. The past several weeks, I've just gotten busy, distracted. You know, the occasional migraine will pop up and kind of throw me out of whack for several days. So I want to pull back just a little bit from my recordings so that I can really focus on going in really strong, falling back on my strengths as far as research and writing go, and then being able to record something that feels more complete to me and able to have time to edit it where I need to, or if something else comes in that feels like it needs to be said, I have a chance to go back and put that in rather than rushing to hit publish. So what I've decided to do as far as the podcast goes is I'm going to take a summer vacation from the podcast. But don't worry, I'm still going to show up once a week with like maybe a little 5-minute something that is inspirational, uplifting, maybe an intuitive download if I work on channeling that for the sake of the listeners, or pulling an oracle card, just something so that those of you that have made it a habit every week to tune into the podcast, if listening to my voice in some way uplifts or inspires you, I don't want to just cut you off cold turkey. So don't worry, I'm still going to show up every Sunday, but it's just going to be in a shorter, much more summer breeze kind of format. I think I'm going to call it the Summer Breeze edition. So keep checking in, but just know that I am using this as a way to kind of downshift and say season 1 is coming to an end. And once the kids get back in school and our routine gets a little bit more regulated, once we settle into that in August, we'll come back in strong for season 2. And I'll probably have a little bit more of a plan, I guess, as far as how I want to put the episodes out, how I want to promote them, perhaps through my newsletter, my mailing list. That those of you that have been on my newsletter, you're like, hey, I haven't seen anything from her in a while. Yeah, that's because I haven't sent anything. I'm sorry. So I'm working on becoming a little bit more disciplined and organized as far as those things go, because I want this podcast to reach as many people as it needs to reach, but I've got to do my part to put that out there, to maybe put a post on social media every now and then. So just letting you know that that's kind of the plan. I've got a lot of really awesome topics that I'm so excited about. And once we start back in season 2, oh my gosh, I can't wait. I cannot wait to dig into some of these topics. I also wanted you guys to know, several of you guys check into my blog on my website, and I haven't published anything there. I've written actually a lot of articles, and I've got some great stuff, and it's going to be coming out probably sooner rather than later. So keep checking in there as well. So for the next 2 months, feel free to reach out. Most of you guys are either on my mailing list or you have my email address. You can reach out to me, or you can leave a message through whatever platform you're listening to. Actually, wherever you're listening, there is a place in the show notes that says send me a text. I believe that's what it says. So feel free to reach out if there's any topic that you want me to consider over the next couple of months while I'm working on writing, researching, doing all the things to get ready for this next season. Send me anything that you want me to talk about, or just say hi. I love to hear from you. It always inspires me when you guys check in and let me know where you're listening from, and however the podcast may have served you in a beautiful way, or people that you might have felt inclined to share it with for whatever reason. I love to hear those things. It's super inspiring for me and reminds me of why it is that I'm even doing this thing. If you haven't already, just go on to the show notes, join the mailing list, because like I said, I have a lot of really cool episodes coming up once I really get started for season 2, and I'm going to be publishing a lot of different things in the blog. So make sure that you're signed up for my mailing list so that you don't miss any of those cool things. The other thing that I'm considering doing, because I have 2 different audiences in my mailing list, people that are yoga students in my classes and they only want to have updates about classes that I'm offering. Some people are really into the first few articles that I've published in the blog and they want more of that, but not everybody is into the podcast, and vice versa. Some of you have signed up just because you enjoy the podcast and you want updates on it, but you don't really care about the other stuff. So what I'm thinking about doing, I'm looking into creating a separate mailing list so that I have my main audience who's local, who wants updates about classes, offerings, and are mostly interested in the blog because that's more generalized health and wellness stuff. And then I wanted to have a newsletter specific to my Return to Her podcast listeners where we can be a little bit more intimate, maybe go a little bit deeper into things. So look out for that. And if you haven't already joined the mailing list that I have linked to in the show notes, please do that, because in the next couple of weeks, I'm probably going to be sending out an invitation to anybody who is on my mailing list to also sign up for a Return to Her podcast mailing list for those of you that want more about the podcast and you want more updates and reminders there. So just keep your eye out for that. And I think that's all I wanted to say, actually, for now. And I am so thankful to each of you for listening, for sharing the podcast with your friends, your family members, whenever you've been inspired. Sometimes these episodes are just exactly what you needed, and you have a friend who's going through something similar, so you send it to them. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for reaching out, those of you who've reached out and let me know how things are going in your life and where the podcast is finding you in your journey. I, again, love that kind of stuff so much. So thanks for being a wonderful listener. And remember, I'm still going to be here every Sunday throughout the summer, but it's just going to be shorter, sweeter, summer breeze episodes. And I can't wait for season 2. It's going to be so good, guys. All right. So with that said, I think what I'll do to end this episode, because some of you have really enjoyed this, is I'm going to pull another card from one of my oracle decks and see if the message that comes through is something that resonates with you. Perhaps something you needed to hear today. So give me just a moment to grab my oracle card decks. Okay, this is my all-time favorite one, and I actually, in my mind, I wasn't going to grab this one, but when I reached down for them, and I had it in my mind, the one that I was going to get, my hand grabbed this one instead, so that is a sign to me that there is a message in here that wants to be shared for at least somebody who's listening. All right, guys, so this one is called Daily Guidance from Your Angels. It's my favorite one. Give me just a moment. I'm going to shuffle them and knock out any energy of my own here to make sure that the card I pull is not just for me, but it is for you guys. So give me a moment to set my intention. And I've grabbed the card. Interesting. Okay, this one. Oh, this one's beautiful. All right. It's called Law of Attraction. Each thought is an investment that pays immediate dividends, so invest wisely. You have the power to choose your thoughts and align them with love, peace, and harmony. At your request, we will gladly attune your energies to higher frequencies. And this one, like the one that I read from last time, also has a book that comes with it, and it gives a little bit more insight. So give me a moment. I'm going to find this one in the book. Oh my God, you guys will not believe this. When I opened my book, it opened exactly to this page. That's bananas. Thank you, God. All right, for Law of Attraction. The angels gave you this card as a reminder that the law of attraction can help you improve the situation that you're inquiring about. Complaints and worry only attract more of the same. So elevate your thoughts with the help of the angels to attract what you desire. Several times a day, imagine that the situation was presently healed and perfectly manifested. Feel gratitude that it is already so, which is the first part of attracting the material aspects of the situation. And there are some additional meanings for this card. So as always, just take what resonates, leave the rest behind. It might not be for you today. So additional meanings for this card: think about your desires and avoid worrying or complaining. Rise up to the level of the type of person that you wish to attract. As your spiritual energy increases, you will find yourself less attracted to lower energies in relationships and situations. This is normal, and the angels can help you deal with these endings and beginnings. Ooh, so definitely take a pause if any of that resonated. Maybe reflect on it after this episode is over. Journal if that's something that you're into, or at least just give yourself a few minutes to sit and allow yourself to take in that message. And as always, beautiful souls, thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to connecting with you again real soon. Remember that everything you need is already within you. And I can't wait to see you next time when we return to her. If today's episode resonated with you, please subscribe to the mailing list and the show notes so that you never miss an update. And please also share this episode with someone else who might be ready to return home to herself. If you're finding value in this content and feel called to support the show with a small monthly donation, please click the link in the show notes. Your contribution will help offset the time, energy, and costs of producing this show, which will be a win-win for everyone. And if you're ready to dive deeper into this healing work with me, head on over to wholebeingjourney.com to explore ways that we can work together. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you all next week when we return to her.